Rain fell softly on the memorial garden where an apartment building once stood. A young woman balanced on crutches, her blonde hair darkened by the drizzle, her face tilted toward a bronze plaque embedded in stone. She placed a small bouquet of sunflowers, Harper's favorite, at its base. "Happy birthday to me," Luna whispered. Three names stared back at her. David Brooks, Maria Brooks, Harper Brooks. Her father, her mother, her baby sister. Gone. All of them gone. 2 years now, and the grief still hit her like a wave she never saw coming. "I know you wanted me to stop coming here." Her voice cracked in the empty garden. "Mom, you'd tell me to move forward. Dad, you'd make some terrible joke about how I'm drowning your flowers with all this rain." She laughed, but it came out shattered. "And Harper, you'd probably roll your eyes and tell me I'm being dramatic. You were always telling me I was being dramatic." She traced her sister's name with trembling fingers. The bronze was cold. Everything felt cold these days. "I'm 23 today. You'll always be 14. That's not fair, is it?" The rain fell harder. Luna didn't move. "I'm going to the cafe now. Our cafe. I'm going to sit at a table and pretend you're all there with me, just for a little while. I hope that's okay." She turned away from the memorial, adjusted her crutches, and began the 6-block walk to the corner bean. She had no way of knowing that this birthday, this cafe, and one simple question would change everything. The corner bean was packed that Saturday morning in late March. Portland's first real sunshine in months had drawn everyone out of hibernation, turning the cozy neighborhood cafe into a sea of occupied tables and animated conversations. The smell of fresh coffee and warm pastries filled the air. Laughter echoed off exposed brick walls. Life was happening everywhere Luna looked. She stood in the doorway, scanning for an empty seat, already knowing there wouldn't be one. There never was on Saturday mornings. That's why her family had always come early, to claim their table by the window, the one where Dad would read the paper while Mom stole bites of everyone's breakfast, the one where Harper would kick Luna under the table and pretend she didn't, the one where, for a few precious hours each week, nothing else in the world mattered. Luna approached a couple near the door, young, clearly on a date, leaning into each other's space. "Excuse me, would you mind if I—" The woman didn't even let her finish. A firm shake of the head, a return to her conversation. Luna was invisible. She tried a man surrounded by laptops and papers, his table cluttered with the evidence of important work. "I'm waiting for colleagues," he said without looking up. Her shoulders slumped. 2 years ago, she would have simply left, given up, gone home to her empty apartment and spent another birthday alone with her ghosts. But today was different. Today she needed to be here, in this place, at one of these tables. She needed to feel close to them again, even if it was just pretend, even if it was just for an hour. She stood in the middle of the crowded cafe, looking around with an expression that broadcast her desperation to anyone paying attention. Lost, alone, running out of options. From a corner table by the window, a man was paying attention. Nathan Carter watched the woman on crutches get rejected twice. Something about her expression, the way hope kept flickering and dying in her eyes, made his chest tight. She looked like someone holding on to the last thread of something important. Like if that thread snapped, she might unravel completely. "Daddy, you're not listening again." 6-year-old Lily crossed her arms, her hot chocolate growing cold, her patience growing thin. "Sorry, sweetheart." Nathan turned back to his daughter, guilt flickering across his face. "What happened to Cheeto?" "He escaped during show and tell, and Mrs. Faith screamed and—" Lily noticed her father's attention drifting again. She followed his gaze to the woman standing alone in the middle of the cafe. "She looks sad," Lily observed with the simple clarity that only children possess. "Like really, really sad. Not pretend sad like when I don't get dessert, real sad. Nathan nodded slowly. 3 years of Saturday mornings at this table, their tradition born from the ashes of his divorce, had taught him to recognize the weight people carried. This woman was carrying something heavy, something that threatened to crush her. Their eyes met across the crowded cafe. Nathan saw vulnerability there, hope, and a grief so profound it seemed to radiate from her very core. The woman took a breath, adjusted her crutches, and started walking toward them. "Excuse me." Her voice was steady, but Nathan heard the tremor underneath, the barely contained emotion fighting to break free. "I'm so sorry to bother you. I know this is strange, but would you mind if I share this table? The cafe is completely full and She paused. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I really need to be here today. It's important." Nathan was already standing, already pulling out the empty chair across from them. "Of course. Please sit." He extended his hand. "I'm Nathan. This is my daughter, Lily." Relief washed over her face. Genuine, overwhelming relief that seemed completely disproportionate to simply finding a seat. This wasn't about the chair. This was about something much deeper. "I'm Luna. Thank you." Her voice wavered. "You have no idea what this means." She settled into the chair, propping her crutches against the wall. Lily leaned forward immediately, her natural curiosity overriding any shyness. "We come here every Saturday. It's our special tradition. I get hot chocolate with extra whipped cream, and Daddy gets boring black coffee because he's old." "Hey!" Nathan protested with a laugh. "Do you like hot chocolate?" Lily continued, undeterred. "You look like you need hot chocolate. Hot chocolate makes everything better. That's what my grandma says. But she also says vegetables are delicious, so maybe she's not always right." Luna laughed, a surprised, genuine sound that seemed to catch even her off guard. "I think you might be right about the hot chocolate." 15 minutes passed in easy conversation. Luna found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in months. Lily's chatter was a warm blanket wrapped around her frozen heart. Nathan's quiet kindness was a steady anchor in her storm. For a few precious moments, she forgot why she was sad. She forgot what day it was. She simply existed in this space, with these people, and it felt safe. Then something shifted. Luna set down her coffee cup and looked at them both. This man and his daughter who had welcomed a stranger without hesitation. "I want to tell you why today is so important, why I needed to be here specifically." She took a breath. "Today is my birthday. I'm 23. Lily's eyes went supernova with delight. "It's your birthday?" And before anyone could react, before Luna could prepare herself, Lily launched into song with the unself-conscious joy that only children possess. "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Luna. Happy birthday to you." Nathan joined in immediately, his deeper voice harmonizing with his daughter's enthusiastic soprano. Nearby tables noticed. An older couple added their voices. A barista behind the counter sang along while steaming milk. By the final line, half the cafe was singing to a woman they'd never met. When the song ended, Luna had tears streaming down her face. That was... She couldn't finish. The words got stuck somewhere between her heart and her throat. Nathan excused himself and walked to the counter. He returned minutes later carrying a small chocolate cake with a single candle, its flame dancing in the morning light. "Everyone deserves cake on their birthday," he said simply. "Make a wish." Luna closed her eyes. She made a wish she didn't dare speak out loud. Then she blew out the candle. As they shared the cake, something cracked open inside Luna. The sweetness of the moment, the unexpected kindness from strangers, broke through the walls she'd spent 2 years building. The words spilled out before she could stop them. This cafe, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. This was my family's place, our Saturday morning tradition, exactly like yours. She stared at the table, unable to meet their eyes. Me, my little sister Harper, and our parents. We lived just a few blocks from here, in a small apartment above a bookstore. My dad was a firefighter at Station 14. My mom was a pediatric nurse at Dernbecker Children's Hospital. Her hands trembled around her fork. We never had much money, but Saturday mornings here at the Corner Bean, these were the happiest times of my entire life. Harper always ordered strawberry waffles with extra syrup. My dad made these terrible jokes that made my mom groan but made us laugh. My mom would steal bites of everyone's food and pretend she wasn't hungry. Her voice fractured. 2 years ago, there was a gas leak in our apartment building. The landlord had been warned multiple times about the old corroded pipes. He kept saying he'd fix it next month. Next month. Next month. Nathan felt his chest tighten. He reached across the table instinctively, placing his hand over hers. The explosion happened while we were all asleep. I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. The building had completely collapsed. I was trapped under concrete and steel beams for almost 6 hours before the rescue team could reach me. She gestured to her crutches. My left leg was completely crushed. The doctor said there was no way to save it. They had to amputate below the knee. Lily's eyes were wide, shimmering with tears she didn't fully understand. My parents and Harper, Luna's voice shattered completely. They didn't make it out. They died in the collapse. Harper was only 14 years old. She wanted to be a veterinarian because she loved every single animal she ever met. She used to bring home stray cats, nurse injured birds back to health, cry over roadkill on the highway. The tears were streaming down Luna's face now. Today is my birthday, and all I wanted, all I needed, was to sit in this cafe and pretend just for an hour that they were here with me, that I wasn't completely alone. Before Nathan could respond, Lily slipped out of her chair. She walked around the table with quiet purpose, and without saying a word, she wrapped her small arms around Luna and hugged her as tightly as her little body could manage. "I'm so sorry your family died," Lily whispered. "That's the saddest thing I ever heard." She pulled back and looked into Luna's tear-filled eyes. "But you're not alone now. You have us." An hour later, Luna said goodbye and walked toward the door. Nathan called out before he could stop himself. "Same place next Saturday?" Luna turned. Her face, still puffy from crying, still bearing the weight of impossible grief, lit up with something that looked like hope. "I'd love that." She pushed through the door and stepped onto the sidewalk. The morning sun was warm on her face. For the first time in 2 years, her birthday didn't feel like a funeral. Then she froze. Across the street, a silver-haired woman in an expensive coat was watching her. The woman's eyes moved slowly, from Luna's crutches to her face, assessing, calculating, judging. Her expression was unreadable, but something about it made Luna's skin prickle with unease. The woman held Luna's gaze for a long moment. Then she turned and walked away without a word. Luna couldn't have known, not then, but she had just been noticed by Margaret Carter, Nathan's mother, a woman who had spent 67 years developing very specific ideas about who belonged in her son's life. And Luna Brooks was not on that list. You can't fix damaged people, Nathan. You can only damage yourself trying. Margaret Carter's words echoed in her son's mind as he watched Luna laugh at something Lily said. 3 months had passed since that first Saturday. 3 months of shared tables and growing friendship. 3 months of falling, slowly, inevitably, terrifyingly, in love. And 3 months of his mother's warnings growing louder. The weeks became a blur of small, perfect moments. Luna teaching Lily to draw cartoon animals at Nathan's kitchen table, colored pencils scattered everywhere like confetti. Nathan and Luna texting until 2 in the morning about everything and nothing. Terrible puns, existential questions, what they'd eaten for dinner, dreams they'd never told anyone else, trips to Powell's City of Books where they'd wander for hours through towering shelves and send each other photos of the most ridiculous titles they could find. Movie nights after Lily went to bed, their shoulders touching on the couch, neither acknowledging the electricity that crackled between them. Luna moved back to Portland, into a studio apartment 3 blocks from the cafe. I need to rebuild my life, she told Nathan. And this is the only place that feels like home. What she didn't say, you're the only person who feels like home. Nathan found himself thinking about Luna constantly. The way she listened to Lily with genuine interest, never dismissing her 6-year-old concerns as trivial. The way she made terrible situations somehow lighter. The way she carried her grief without letting it crush her. He was falling, hard and fast and completely, and he was absolutely terrified. It happened on a Thursday evening in June. Luna was at Nathan's apartment for dinner. Spaghetti with Lily's special sauce, which was basically regular marinara with extra cheese. They were laughing about something. The windows were open. The evening was warm and golden. Then the thunderstorm hit without warning. The first crack of thunder was like a bomb going off. Luna's entire body seized. Her fork clattered to the floor. Her breath came in ragged, desperate gasps. The color drained from her face. Her eyes went somewhere else, somewhere dark and terrifying that Nathan couldn't follow. She was back there, in the darkness, under the rubble, the smell of gas and smoke filling her lungs, Harper's voice calling her name, calling, and then going silent, the weight of the building pressing down, the certainty that she was going to die, the screaming that she slowly realized was coming from her own throat. Luna! Nathan's voice seemed far away, underwater, unreachable. She couldn't breathe. The walls were closing in. The ceiling was falling. She scrambled backward, knocking over her chair, pressing herself into the corner of the kitchen, hands over her ears, sobbing and shaking. Nathan didn't know what to do. He'd read about panic attacks but had never witnessed one. The terror on Luna's face, the absolute absence of the woman he knew, paralyzed him. Then Lily appeared. The 6-year-old walked calmly across the kitchen, sat down on the cold tile floor beside Luna, and took her hand. It's okay, Lily said softly, her voice steady and certain. Let's count together. 1. Luna's breathing hitched. 2. The sobbing continued, but something shifted. 3. Lily squeezed her hand. 4, 5, 6. For 10 minutes, Lily counted with Luna, patient, unwavering, present. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't ask questions. She simply sat in the darkness with her and counted until the light came back. Slowly, Luna's breathing steadied. The terror in her eyes faded. When she finally looked up, mortified, exhausted, exposed, Lily simply said, My friend Emma gets scared like that sometimes. Her mom taught me how to help. You're safe here. Luna pulled the little girl into her arms and cried, not from fear this time, from something she'd almost forgotten existed, the feeling of being truly seen. The next Sunday, at the weekly family dinner Nathan dreaded, Margaret cornered him in the kitchen. I saw what happened Thursday night. Her voice was sharp as broken glass. I drove by to drop off Lily's birthday present and saw through the window. Nathan's jaw tightened. Mom, that woman, Luna, she's damaged, Nathan, deeply damaged. She has PTSD. That's not the same thing as being damaged. It's exactly the same thing. Margaret's eyes were hard. You already failed at one marriage. You have a daughter to think about. What happens when that girl has another episode? What if Lily gets hurt? What if Luna would never hurt Lily? Nathan's voice dropped to a temperature he rarely allowed. And for the record, Lily handled that situation better than most adults would have. Maybe you should take notes. He walked out of the kitchen, leaving his mother standing alone with her warnings unfinished. But Margaret wasn't done. She followed him into the living room, where Lily was building a tower with blocks, oblivious to the tension crackling through the house. "Claire called me," Margaret announced, loud enough for anyone to hear. Nathan froze. "She's moving back to Portland. She got a curatorial position at the art museum. Her dream job." Margaret's voice softened into something almost pleading. "She wants to try again, Nathan. A real family. Both parents under one roof. That's what Lily deserves." Lily looked up from her blocks, eyes wide with sudden hope. Nathan's world tilted on its axis. "That's not your decision to make, Mom." "No," Margaret agreed, "but it is your decision, and I pray to God you make the right one." Claire Morrison arrived in Portland like a storm front, beautiful, confident, and impossible to ignore. She happened to show up at the corner bean the following Saturday morning. Nathan saw her the moment she walked in. Tall, artistic, paint-stained fingers she'd never bothered to hide. She smiled at him across the cafe. That familiar smile that used to make his heart race. Now it made his stomach drop. "I'll get us some napkins," Luna said, rising from the table. The moment she was gone, Claire was there, sliding into Luna's empty chair like she belonged in it. "Hi, Nathan." "Claire." His voice was careful, controlled. "What are you doing here?" "Getting coffee. This is still my favorite cafe." Her eyes flickered to Luna's retreating form. "Who's that?" "A friend. Your mother mentioned her." Claire leaned closer, her perfume familiar and unsettling. "She mentioned a lot of things." Nathan's jaw tightened. "Whatever my mother told you." "She told me you're falling for a wounded girl who can't give you what you need." Claire's hand found his arm. "I can give you that, Nathan. I've changed. I've grown. I know what I want now." Her eyes locked onto his. "I want us. I want our family. I want to give Lily the life she deserves." "Mommy!" Lily's shriek cut through the cafe like a bell. She launched herself at Claire, wrapping her arms around her mother's neck, and Nathan watched his ex-wife's face soften with genuine love. Whatever else Claire was, she adored their daughter. That made everything more complicated. Luna returned to find Claire in her seat, Lily on Claire's lap. Nathan looking like a man being pulled in two different directions by two different futures. "Oh." Luna's voice was small, uncertain. "I didn't realize." "Luna, this is Claire, my ex-wife." Claire's smile didn't reach her eyes. "The friend." "Yes, I've heard." The tension was suffocating. Luna grabbed her jacket. "I should go. I just remembered I have a deadline." "Luna, wait." But she was already moving toward the door. Moving as fast as her crutches would allow. Moving away from the perfect picture of the family she could never be part of. 2 weeks later, Luna stopped by Nathan's apartment to return a book. Nathan was in the kitchen making dinner. Margaret was there, uninvited as always, straightening things that didn't need straightening. Lily was on the couch watching cartoons. Luna sat beside the little girl. "Miss Luna?" Lily's voice was uncertain, hesitant in a way Luna had never heard before. "Yes, sweetheart. Grandma says you're going to break Daddy's heart and leave, like Mommy did." The floor dropped out from under Luna's world. "She says wounded people always leave because they don't know how to stay." Lily's eyes were wide and innocent and absolutely devastating. "Are you wounded, Miss Luna?" Luna couldn't speak. Margaret's words, filtered through a child's mouth, landed like bullets. "Are you going to leave us?" Luna looked toward the kitchen, where Nathan was laughing at something on the radio. Oblivious, happy, better off without her complications. She looked back at Lily's trusting face. "I have to go," she whispered. She was out the door before anyone could stop her. She didn't answer Nathan's calls that night, or the next day, or the day after. She was doing what wounded people do. What Margaret said she would do. What she'd promised herself she wouldn't do. She was leaving. Because maybe Margaret was right. Maybe wounded people really didn't know how to stay. Where do you go when the place you belong doesn't feel like yours to claim? Nathan asked himself that question as he drove through the rain, windshield wipers beating a frantic rhythm, searching every street for Luna. 2 weeks of silence, 2 weeks of unanswered calls, 2 weeks of Lily asking where Miss Luna was, her little voice getting smaller each time. 2 weeks of his mother's satisfied silence at Sunday dinners. He'd finally asked Lily what happened that day. When his daughter told him what Margaret had said, the words she'd used, the poison she'd planted in a child's innocent mouth, something inside Nathan snapped. Luna wasn't at her apartment. She wasn't at the cafe. She wasn't answering her phone. Nathan drove through Portland's rain-soaked streets, thinking about all the places she might go, all the places that mattered to her, and then it hit him. So obvious he almost laughed. He drove to the Memorial Garden, where the apartment building once stood, where Luna's family had their last ordinary morning before everything ended. Through the rain, he could see a figure on a bench, crutches beside her, face turned up to the gray sky, letting the rain wash over her like a baptism she didn't believe she deserved. Nathan didn't bother with an umbrella. He walked through the downpour and sat down beside her on the wet bench. His clothes soaked through immediately. He didn't care. Luna didn't look at him. "How did you find me?" "This is where you go when you need to remember." His voice was gentle but certain. "And when you need to be reminded that you survived." Luna finally turned to him. Her face was streaked with rain or tears. He couldn't tell which. Maybe both. "Your mother is right, Nathan." Her voice was hollow, empty. "I'm scarred. I have panic attacks. I have nightmares. I'll probably need therapy for the rest of my life. I can't give Lily a mother who doesn't wake up screaming. I can't give you a partner who won't fall apart in thunderstorms. I can't—" "Stop!" Nathan's voice was firm, not angry, just absolutely certain. "My mother doesn't get to decide what my family looks like. Neither does Claire. Neither does anyone except me and Lily." He took Luna's cold hands in his. "And we've decided. We want you." "You can't want me." The words tumbled out, desperate and afraid. "You don't know what you're asking for. You don't know how hard it will be. I know you have PTSD." Nathan's grip tightened. "I know you carry guilt for surviving when your family didn't. I know you're terrified of loving people because everyone you've loved has been taken from you." His eyes held hers. "And I know that none of that makes you less worthy. It makes you human. It makes you brave. It makes you the strongest person I've ever met." He reached up and wiped the rain from her face. Or maybe it was tears. It didn't matter. "I'm not asking you to be perfect, Luna. I'm not asking you to be healed. I'm just asking you to stay. To let us love you while you figure it out." His voice cracked. "I love you, Luna. I've been in love with you for months, and I need you to know that. Not so you'll stay, but so you'll stop believing you're not worth staying for." Luna stared at him, rain streaming down her face, her breath coming in shaky gasps. "I love you too," she whispered. "I've loved you since you sang happy birthday to a stranger and made her feel like she mattered. But I'm so scared, Nathan. I'm scared of wanting this. I'm scared of losing another family." "Then be scared with me." Nathan pulled her closer. "Be scared and stay anyway. That's what courage is. Not the absence of fear, the choice to stay despite it." Luna buried her face in his chest and sobbed. Not from grief this time, from the terrifying, beautiful relief of being chosen. What neither of them knew, Margaret had followed Nathan. She'd been at his apartment when he grabbed his keys and rushed out. She'd seen the determination on his face, the same stubborn set of his jaw that his father used to have, and something made her follow. Now she stood under a tree at the edge of the memorial garden, watching her son sit in the rain with a grieving woman. She watched Luna shake her head. She watched Nathan refuse to let go of her hands. She watched two people choosing each other, despite fear, despite pain, despite everything telling them it would be easier to walk away. Then Margaret saw something that shattered every wall she'd built around her heart. Luna looked up at the memorial plaque, at her family's names carved in bronze, and whispered something. Nathan nodded and whispered something back. Then they both stood, Luna leaning on Nathan for support, and they walked to the plaque together. Nathan placed his hand on the cold bronze. He was introducing himself to Luna's family, to the people who should have been there. Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, I'm Nathan. I want you to know that I love your daughter. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to make sure she knows she's not alone. And Harper, I promise I'll make her laugh. Every single day I'll try to make her laugh. Margaret's hand went to her chest. She remembered that feeling. Standing at her own husband's grave years ago, the husband who'd left without warning when Nathan was 8, she remembered what it meant to be alone with grief. She remembered what it would have meant to have someone choose to stand beside her. And she finally understood. She had been so afraid of her son being abandoned that she'd almost made him abandon the one person who would never leave. The next morning, Margaret showed up at Luna's apartment. Luna opened the door, shock and wariness in her eyes. This was the last person she expected, the last person she wanted to see. Mrs. Carter, may I come in? Margaret's voice was soft, uncertain. Emotions Luna had never heard from her. Luna stepped aside. They sat at Luna's small kitchen table. Margaret's eyes moved across the photos covering every surface. Luna's family, frozen in happier times, smiling faces that would never age, a little girl who would never grow up. I owe you an apology. Margaret's voice was thick with emotion she was struggling to control. The things I said about you being wounded, about not knowing how to stay, I was projecting my own fears onto you. Luna remained quiet, waiting. Nathan's father left when Nathan was 8 years old. Just left. No warning, no goodbye, no explanation. For 30 years, I've been terrified that everyone will leave, that I'll be abandoned again, that my son will be abandoned like I was. Margaret's hands trembled in her lap. When I saw you with Nathan, all I could see was another potential abandonment, another person who might hurt my son. I didn't see you. I saw my own fears wearing your face. She looked up, tears streaming down weathered cheeks. I saw you last night, at the memorial. I saw my son introduce himself to your family. I saw two people choosing to love each other despite being terrified. Her voice cracked. I've been afraid for so long that I forgot what courage looks like. I'm sorry, Luna, for everything I said, for everything I made you believe about yourself, for almost destroying something beautiful because I was too scared to see it clearly. Luna was crying now, too. I almost left, she admitted. I almost proved you right. But you didn't. Margaret reached across the table and took Luna's hands, the same hands her son had held in the rain. You stayed. That's what courage is, not the absence of fear, the choice to stay anyway. That same evening, Nathan sat Lily down at their kitchen table, the same table where Luna had taught her to draw, the same table where their little family had started to take shape. Sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something important. Lily looked up from her coloring book, sensing the weight in her father's voice. Is it about Miss Luna? Is she coming back? Yes, she's coming back. Nathan smiled, but his expression grew serious. But I also need to talk to you about Mommy. Lily's eyes brightened with that familiar, painful hope. Mommy and Daddy are not getting back together, Lily. Even though Mommy is living in Portland now. Even though we both love you more than anything in the world. The brightness in Lily's eyes dimmed. Her lower lip trembled. But why, Daddy? If you both love me, loving you isn't the same as loving each other the way married people need to. Nathan pulled her onto his lap. Mommy and Daddy tried really hard, but sometimes two people are better at being friends than being husband and wife. We made each other sad more than we made each other happy. That's not good for anyone, especially not for you. But I wanted us to be a real family. Lily's voice was small, wounded. You are a real family, baby girl. You have a mommy who loves you. You have a daddy who loves you. You have a grandma who loves you. Even when she says things she shouldn't. He kissed the top of her head. And now you have Luna, too. That's a lot of people loving you. That's the realest family there is. Lily was quiet for a long moment, processing with that remarkable depth children sometimes possess. Is that why Grandma was wrong about Miss Luna? Because she didn't understand what a real family is? Nathan felt his heart crack open with pride. Yeah, sweetheart. I think that's exactly right. Okay. Lily nodded slowly. I still wish you and Mommy could be together. But I guess... She looked up at him with eyes too wise for 6 years old. I guess if you're happy with Luna, that's okay too. You smile more when she's around. You laugh more. I like when you laugh, Daddy. Nathan hugged his daughter tight, blinking back tears. I like when I laugh too, baby. I really do. 2 weeks after Nathan and Luna officially became a couple, Claire showed up at the corner bean. Luna was sitting alone, waiting for Nathan to arrive with Lily. When she saw Claire walk through the door, her entire body tensed. But Claire's expression wasn't hostile. It was resigned, almost peaceful. Mind if I sit? Luna gestured to the empty chair. Her heart was pounding. Claire ordered coffee and sat in silence for a moment, staring out the window at the Portland rain. Finally, she spoke. I've been telling myself a story for months now, that I came back for Nathan, for our family, for Lily. She turned to face Luna. But the truth is, I came back because I was alone and scared, and I wanted something familiar, something safe. Luna didn't respond. She sensed Claire needed to say this, needed someone to hear it. Nathan and I weren't happy together. Not really. I just forgot that part. I remembered the wedding and the good days and Lily being born. I erased everything else. Claire's laugh was bitter. Selective memory, it's a hell of a drug. She looked at Luna, really looked at her, for the first time without jealousy or judgment. He smiles differently with you, bigger, easier, like the weight he's been carrying finally got lighter. Claire's voice softened. I don't think I ever made him smile like that, not even in the beginning. Claire, let me finish. Claire held up her hand. I'm going to be a better mother to Lily. That's what I should have focused on from the start. And I'm going to let go of the fantasy of what Nathan and I could have been, because holding on to that fantasy was hurting everyone, including me. She stood up, leaving her coffee untouched. Take care of them, Luna. They're good people. Luna found her voice. I will. I promise. Claire nodded once. Then she walked out into the rain, and Luna understood something profound. Sometimes letting go isn't losing. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. 8 months after that first Saturday morning, Nathan got down on one knee at the corner bean. It was a Saturday, of course. Their day, their table. The whole cafe seemed to hold its breath. Lily stood beside her father, clutching a small velvet box, practically vibrating with barely contained joy. She'd been keeping this secret for 3 whole days, and it had nearly killed her. Luna Brooks. Nathan's voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. When you asked if you could share our table, you gave me back something I'd lost. Hope. You taught me that love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone worth choosing, again and again, especially when it's hard. He opened the box. A simple ring. A single diamond that caught the morning light. Will you marry us? Will you officially become our family? Luna was laughing and crying at the same time. Her hand covered her mouth. She couldn't speak. Lily tugged on her sleeve. You have to say yes, Miss Luna. I already told everyone at school you're going to be my stepmom. If you say no, I'll look like a liar. The cafe erupted in laughter. Yes, Luna finally managed. 1,000 times yes. Nathan slipped the ring on her finger. Lily threw herself at both of them. The whole cafe burst into applause, and at a corner table, Margaret Carter wiped tears from her eyes. Not tears of worry this time, tears of joy. The wedding took place 6 months later at the corner bean. Just 50 people, simple white flowers, warm morning light streaming through windows. Lily walked down the makeshift aisle in a green dress she'd chosen herself, scattering flower petals with serious concentration. Claire sat in the front row with her new girlfriend, an art restorer she'd met at the museum, genuinely happy for the family she was no longer part of, but would always be connected to. And Margaret gave a speech. She stood before the gathered crowd, this silver-haired woman who had spent months trying to keep Luna out of her son's life, and she spoke from a heart that had finally learned to change. I spent months trying to protect my son from loving the wrong person. Her voice was strong despite her tears. I was so focused on keeping out pain that I almost kept out love. Luna taught me something important, something I wish I'd learned 30 years ago. She looked at Luna, this woman she'd once called wounded and unworthy. Scars aren't the opposite of worthy. Scars are what happen when life tests you, and how you carry those scars, how you let people into those tender places, how you choose to stay even when you're afraid. That is what makes someone worth loving. She raised her glass. To Luna and Nathan, to families built from choice, not just blood, to second chances and the courage to take them. Everyone raised their glasses. Lily shouted, "To love," at the top of her lungs, and everyone laughed through their tears. When Nathan and Luna danced their first dance, swaying slowly in the small space between tables, surrounded by everyone who mattered, Lily watched from her seat beside Claire. "Mommy," she said softly, "sometimes fairy tales are real. They just don't look like the ones in books." Claire kissed her daughter's head and smiled. "You're the smartest person I know." Lily. Luna rested her head on Nathan's shoulder as they danced. "Thank you," she whispered, "for saying yes that first day, when I asked to share your table." Nathan pulled her closer. "Thank you," he whispered back, "for being brave enough to ask." Their story started with a birthday no one should have to spend alone. It started with a table that had room for one more. It started with a man who saw someone in pain and chose compassion over convenience. It started with a 6-year-old who knew that the best cure for sadness is hot chocolate and someone who cares. It started with a mother-in-law who learned that the walls we build to keep out pain also keep out love. It started with an ex-wife who found the grace to let go of the past and make room for the future. And it started with a woman, scarred and brave and beautiful, who learned the hardest lesson of all, that she was worthy of love, that she was allowed to stay, that family isn't about blood or perfection or having all the pieces intact. Family is about making room at your table for someone who needs a place to belong. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness change absolutely everything. And sometimes all it takes to save a life is 5 simple words.